I've always had strange dreams, but what started happening 3 months ago is something else entirely. The first time it happened, I thought it was just a really vivid nightmare. You know the type, disjointed, uncomfortable, but easy to shrug off once you're fully awake. But that wasn't what this was. This felt lived. It started one night after a particularly exhausting week. Work was brutal, I hadn't been sleeping well, and I finally crashed on my couch around 11:30 p.m. I didn't even put on background noise like I normally do. I was just too tired. That's when I had the dream, or whatever you want to call it. I woke up in a freezing cold room. The air was wet, like I was underground, and the walls were made of stone, like I was in some kind of old cellar. There was a small window up high, but it was so dirty and fogged over, I couldn't see anything outside. I was barefoot. My clothes were thin. I could see my breath. Then I heard it. A scratching sound, soft at first, coming from behind one of the stone walls. My gut reaction? This wasn't my dream. This wasn't my fear. I don't have a phobia of basements or the dark or even small spaces. But I could feel pure panic, like it didn't belong to me. Like I was borrowing someone else's terror. I tried to wake up. I remember smacking my face, closing and opening my eyes, yelling. Nothing worked. Then the wall on my left started to move, not slide open, not crumble. It breathed. It expanded like a lung pushing out toward me, and from inside the stone I heard whispering. That's when I blacked out. Not woke up, blacked out. I only truly came to when I was back on my couch, sweating through my clothes, my heart racing like I had sprinted 5 miles. But the weirdest part? I had scratches on my forearms. Not deep, but long and thin, and very real. The next few nights I didn't want to sleep, but eventually I had to. The second dream was worse. I woke up in a child's bedroom. It was still dark outside. The only light came from a pink nightlight in the corner of the room. And the moment I sat up in the bed, I knew I wasn't alone. I wasn't in my own body this time either. I could feel it. I was shorter. My arms were thinner. I reached out and saw tiny fingers. I was someone else entirely, a kid. And that's when the door creaked open. A tall figure, way too tall to be human, stepped halfway inside the room. I couldn't see its face. It stood perfectly still for maybe a full minute, not moving, not breathing. And then, in a voice like a broken music box, it whispered, "Are you awake?" The voice didn't match the form at all. It was delicate, like it was mocking the tone of a caretaker. But this thing wasn't caring. It was something else. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. It began walking, slowly, closer to the bed, one jerking step at a time. Just before it reached the edge of the mattress, I woke up. This time for real. My throat hurt like I'd been screaming for hours, even though I made no sound. But here's the kicker. I got an anonymous text an hour later. Just 3 words. "You felt it too." I tried to ignore the text. I blocked the number. I told myself it was a spam message or some creepy coincidence, but deep down I knew better. This wasn't just a dream. Something was pulling me in, to places I didn't belong. Over the next few weeks, it kept happening. Every time I fell asleep, no matter how short the nap, I'd wake up somewhere else, inside someone else's nightmare. A burning hallway where the walls bled like flesh. A forest where something screamed every time I turned my back. A locked room with no doors and dozens of shadowy figures chanting in unison. It didn't stop. The worst part, I started recognizing things. Not from my life, from theirs. I'd see photos on a mantle, a mirror with names scratched into it. One time I looked into a reflection and saw a woman crying behind me. When I turned around, there was no one there. But in the dream, I knew her name, Delilah. That name stuck with me after I woke up. I even Googled it. There was a missing persons report. A woman named Delilah had vanished 3 months earlier. Last seen in her home, in a house with, you guessed it, a pink nightlight in the bedroom. I stopped sleeping after that. I tried everything: energy drinks, late-night walks, even going to the hospital for sleeping pills just to stop the dreams. But the pills made it worse. They pulled me deeper. 2 nights ago, it all came to a head. I fell asleep after being awake for nearly 40 hours. I couldn't fight it anymore. This time I woke up in a motel room. The walls were pale yellow. It smelled like mildew. The door was chained shut. There was a girl crying in the corner. She didn't seem to notice me. She was maybe 12. Her eyes were bruised. Her knees were scraped. I went to reach for her, but when I touched her shoulder, her head snapped toward me. But it wasn't her face. It was mine, my actual face. She just stared at me, wearing my face, and whispered, "Your turn." Then everything went black. When I woke up in my bed, I wasn't alone. There was something written on my wall in red marker, or maybe something else. Just 5 words: "Stop entering what's not yours." Since that night, the dreams haven't stopped, but they've changed. Now, when I fall asleep, I don't just enter